I'm new to woodworking, brand new. Like, me and Home Depot just got into a relationship in September. I went from using foam boards at the Dollar Tree in August of 2020 to all of a sudden I'm at Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, Harbor Freight, because tools are now my friends. Now, I've been trying to cut really thin strips on my table saw, and I've had some issues. Maybe it's common sense, and maybe the problem is that I'm just not common. So I'm going to show you what those issues are. And yes, I do have big glasses, but I don't have time to be losing eyeballs out here in these streets. I have my hair covered because I did just have on my scarf, but then when I took the scarf off yesterday, my hair was still coated in dust. I do not have a shop vac out here in my garage. I need to get one of those. I need to get another one of those. I do have one, but it's not at the house right now. But I'm going to show you my love-hate relationship with this Warrior 10-inch table saw from Harbor Freight. Here's my table saw. Warrior 10-inch table saw from Harbor Freight. This is the little saw table that I built, and I can have the saw that way or turn it that way. I know, don't have all that stuff on your table, but I'm not using that table right now. Back to the table saw. When I'm trying to cut 1/4-inch strips, I'm supposed to use the blade guard, right? Now you tell me, how am I supposed to do this when the blade guard is chilling like that? So I can take the blade guard off, but it's still cutting really, really close to the fence. So I tried all of these things, right? I got this Delmar Tools version of the micro jig, and so I'm thinking I'm gonna do that, but I'm like, how am I gonna get this past the riving knife? And I tried to make this stop block from Newbie woodworker. Y'all, look, that's not supposed to happen. Or maybe he didn't show the back of his, I don't know, but this seems like it's a whole problem. And I'm supposed to try to be able to push this up against the fence so that I can cut 1/4-inch strips. But look, how am I supposed to do this? This is not going to work because it's going to run into the stop block. And the same thing when I try to use this Delmar Tools push block. Look, this right here is a problem. I'm not going to be able to get past the riving knife. The wheel doesn't even sit on the table anymore. So I'm going to show you, just in case anybody out there is like me, where things don't come to you as quick as they probably should. All right, so what about these thin cuts? With the Warrior 10-inch table saw from Harbor Freight, when you're making a non-through cut, you're not supposed to use the blade guard, and the riving knife is supposed to be in the downward position. Now, the problem that I was having is that I'm trying to make, don't worry, my table saw is unplugged. I was trying to make these really thin cuts, but this kept getting in the way. And I'm like, this is a through cut because I'm going all the way through the top of this wood. A non-through cut would be, let me see the thing where I messed up on. So let's pretend like I wanted this to happen, where this is only cut on this side, but it's not cut all the way through. That would be a non-through cut. And I was getting frustrated because I'm like, I'm trying to make a through cut. I definitely wanted to go all the way through the top. But because I'm having to put this jig on the top of it, I don't want the blade to go through this. Therefore, what was a through cut is now a non-through cut, which means that I have to raise the lock on my riving knife and lower it. Just a sec. Okay, here we go. Lower it. Lock it back because it's technically a non-through cut. So this way, whatever I have going on, the riving knife is not going to get in the way. So I'm going to show I'm gonna demonstrate that. So now the blade is set just above the wood. And look where the riving knife is. So when I have this push block and it's pushing this wood across, the riving knife is not going to go all the way through. I mean, the blade is gonna go through here some, but the riving knife is not in the way. Now let's say I wanted to use this Delmar Tools jig. So when I'm pushing it, again, my saw is off, I'm just demonstrating. So I got it up against the fence, and when I'm bringing it through, because of the height of it, the riving knife is no longer in the way. So I'm gonna cut some 1x4s and we will see how it works out. So this is my 1/4 inch section, because I finally got bold enough to rip my piece the size that I needed. So it just went through. Okay. I pushed it on up against the fence like that. I had this jig, thanks newbie woodworker, not jig, this push block on the end. And as I pushed it through, it came up just a little bit. But it was a lot better than it was yesterday. You can see here's my gauge, my fence gauge. The Harbor Freight saw comes with this thing. It comes with this extra piece on the fence. So how was it going? So my fence basically looked like that. It was on the other side. I'll take it off. So it came like this, and I was really confused. My bad. It was turned this way. Imagine these screws went all the way through. And I'm like, what in the world am I supposed to do with this thing? So I'm guessing that this is an auxiliary fence. But I had to take it off because you cannot use this push block with it. You can't use this one with it. It was just, I mean, maybe you could, I just don't know how. So if somebody wants to make a video for people like me who are just getting into this, how we would use an auxiliary fence. And, oh, I think I just figured it out. Hold on, reattach that part of the fence. Okay, so this is the fence to my table saw with this thing reattached, screwed on right here. So I set it to how I want my cut to be, but so theoretically I can put the wood here and use my push block, and it would still, use my push block and it would be like that. But I'm worried that my finger would, not my finger, I'm worried that pushing up against the fence when it's not the same height, that my hand would slide off or something. And I'm not sure how comfortable I would feel even with this. It seems like there's too much room for error, because I can only, the whole board is not going to be pushed up against the fence, only that much of it, and I want the whole thing supported. So if I'm thinking about this the wrong way, please let me know in the comments, because I want to do the right thing. And if I had 3 hands and my third hand had 12 fingers, there are certain risks that I would be willing to take. But because I only have 2 hands and I got 10 fingers, I like them all, and I would like to keep them all. So if there is a way, if there's something I'm not doing right, let a sister know. But I cannot take the shortcuts. Like I said, I just got into this relationship with Home Depot and Menards and them in September. And I'm not trying to forsake my fingers because it's not going to end well. It's like I have found a pot of gold to take a 2x4. So this is what it looks like at the end. So this is what I have left on my little baby block. And I am probably gonna remake this again. I'm pretty sure I am. Now that I know how to do it. My riving knife is down. I have to put it up. If you're making a non-through cut, you don't use the blade guard. That is why my blade guard is off. That is what the Harbor Freight instructions said. They're not the best at giving instructions, but that one I can understand. Guys, all this from a 2x4, and I needed these strips. Do you have any idea? So I'm thinking I'm getting a little deal, right? Because I would go to that little specialty section where the wood is and get 1/4-inch thick 2-inch wood. Sister didn't know that you could rip down a 2x4 into 1/4-inch strips. Look at this. This is amazing. All I want to do with my life is to make 1/4-inch strips from 2x4s. Just kidding, but not kidding. All right, so now I was regretting my choice in buying this table saw. But now I'm not, because I have figured out how to use it, but it's taking me some time because it doesn't look like all of the other saws that are being reviewed. So this is my mess that I made. I do have a blower, so I'm gonna blow this out of my garage. And look at the girl, a hot mess. Look at all of this dust up here. I am covered in dust. But guess what? Here's all my fingers. I didn't have any kickback. I'm still alive. So, hey, I'll be covered in dust as long as I'm not covered in blood. Now I gotta get me one of those first aid kits for those just in case things. But thank you for everybody on YouTube who shows newbies like me how to use their power tools. And I hope this helps somebody because your girl was super frustrated. Well, have a good one. Just like that. My relationship with this table saw has now come to an end. I have to take it back to the store because the crank stopped working on me. So it will not raise nor lower the blade. And you can't use a saw without it. I'm really disappointed. The saw took me a minute to figure out, and right when I get it, the thing stops working on me. This adjuster here, so it still works if I adjust. See, that part still works. But this is crazy. You cannot raise or lower. And it's not because it's not set at 0. If I set it at 0, it still is not doing it. There it is, at 0. I'll be doggone it. So I'm sad because this has got to go back to the store. And they are out of stock, which means that I have to go and find a new table saw. So me and this table saw just became friends. And then it broke on me. The dang knob stopped turning. This little thing right here. But guess what? I learned how to fix it. See how it is going up and down now? So for anybody who's going to buy this saw, this screw right here gets loose. And you're going to need to take a screwdriver and straighten that up. So I flipped it upside down. Let me see if I can do that. This screw right here is the devil. There are these cranks at the bottom. There are the cranks. So I don't know if I can do this. Okay, see, those are supposed to turn. What was happening was this orange knob, there's a pole inside of here, and it just was not turning the pole. So I got up under here, cleaned that out. I mean, it was greasy and then dust built up on it, but I've only used it a couple times. So that happened really fast. And but now the crank is working again. I mean, I called Harbor Freight real sad. Like, can I bring this saw back? I haven't even had it for 30 days. And she said, well, we don't have any more in stock. And I'm like, can I just get my money back? But I couldn't stand the saw until today. And I really enjoy it. Safety first. And I did. Gotta get out here and clean this off. This is my friend. All right, got my blade guard back on here. Raise the riving knife back up to the highest position. Here is my fence being stored on the side with my push stick being stored right there, and the miter gauge stores in the back so that I don't have a lot of stuff going on. And this is my little saw table that I built. And here's to growing. Here's to becoming a master woodworker. I want to be like Stumpy Nubs and thrift diving and Colin Connect. That's my friend. He's my YouTube dad. He doesn't know it, but I watch all of his videos and I do what he says, how he says it, because he seems like he knows what he's talking about. But this is the Warrior tennis table, so I was ready to throw it away. I thought I was going to have to return it to the store, but I don't. So, and there you have it.